have no notes, Switzerland, but I do want to talk about something unique. As many of you have already seen the clip of Chainsaw Baby claiming that, there's a need to legalize comedy. As well, we've seen a shift in the last few years where rich douchebags have really been trying to flood money into right-wing comedy through people like Joe Rogan and Theo Vaughn. Though, really, right-wing comedy is a bit of a misnomer because, at least for most of while I've been alive, comedy always kind of needs to be punching up. Otherwise, it's not funny. When comedy is punching down, which is what the rich people are trying to fund, it's not comedy. It's just cruelty with cadence. There's a line in a song that I love. It's by the ska band We Are the Union. They've got some absolutely fantastic songs. In this song called Post-Ironic Sinkhole, there's a line, I feel defined by advertisements, social media, and the Donald Trump meme you said was funny. But Donald Trump is never funny. And that's true. And it's true every time that song comes up on shuffle, which thankfully is kind of often. As long as I've been alive and consuming various forms of media, comedy has been peppered throughout Canadian life and through American media, which we often consume. When I was younger, I remember watching Whose Line Is It Anyway on the Comedy Network. I remember watching Just for Laughs. Comedians have historically been agents for pushing boundaries in society. Even though boring straight people might have been uncomfortable with things like drag, someone like Dame Edna Everage could use comedy to massage what people would let themselves be comfortable with. As I got older, I became a devout Daily Show and Colbert Report viewer. I saw the immense power of comedy to allow ordinary adjacent people to pressure big, rich, powerful douchebags into scaling back their sociopathic horror lest they be embarrassed. But with the election of the Tangerine Twat, things changed because the comedy of 2015 didn't know how to adapt in a world where the most powerful man in the world was himself a bad joke. Previously, politicians cared about the confidence of their people. They didn't want to look stupid. They may have been narcissistic as hell, but George W. Bush or Bill Clinton would have never been comfortable asking in front of millions of people why you couldn't shoot bleach into your veins to kill a virus. Also, scientists need to learn to say, that's a great idea. We can get some supplies and try it on you this afternoon. Actually, I had a stand-up comedy phase. It was shortly after I got fired from a church job I had because the senior minister hated that people laughed when I did the kids' time on Sunday mornings. It was during the last few months when it still would have been accurate to call me a Christian. In part, I was actually hoping that at some point I would say something on stage and go viral, and at that point there'd be no looking back. I'd never be able to get a job at a church again. It didn't happen, but thankfully I'm still very confident that I will never work at a church again. When I was going to open mic nights, it was thrilling. And it's funny, what I wanted to do with those open mic nights is actually a lot closer to what I'm actually doing on here now. Incidentally, in both capacities, not getting paid. But one thing I learned really quickly was not to do Trump jokes. I didn't try any in my first set, but I did notice some other people who were starting out try them, and they all flopped because anyone who wants to hear someone ridicule him can hear that from a late night talk show host at any time, and it's all really similar. It's repetitive because he isn't interesting and he doesn't change. Like, you can give me a Trump joke from 2016 in 2025, and I don't know when it's from. He's just the same. It's boring and dumb. They're all the same. They all have a weird cadence, bad grammar, they all have weird hand motions, and they're just always going to say something stupid and the opposite of clever. Like, it's really, really hard to say anything clever and have it connect to Donald Trump because he's just that boring. It's exhausting to watch because of how repetitive it is. It's fundamentally uncreative. Now, in 2025, late night hosts have adapted a bit. They're also fortunate, big air quotes on that, that they also have President Chainsaw. There's this sense of fatigue that they have around Trump. So they're often going to focus more on the people around him, especially since his base may still feel somewhat indebted to the nut jobs around him, but they don't have the same worshipy allegiance that they have to Trump. At the same time, Trump in 2025 is an even more cruel person. He's been rejected by the American people and he has no love for them. He's surrounded by some of the least mentally stable people in the world. The upside, however, to this is that while we wait for an American patriot to do the right thing, and it does have to be one of you guys because otherwise it triggers a World War III, but while we wait, we are going to see things like this, where you get brilliantly creative people doing acts of defiance that you never would have done before for an American president because previously a snappy joke was always good enough. So thank you, Switzerland, because while Donald Trump is truly never funny, this is fucking great.